7 Character Traits of Creative People. Have you ever wondered what drives creative people? What makes them different? Creativity can challenge you, give you energy, and allow you to reach your full potential. And the good news is that your own innate creativity can be encouraged and developed if you choose to. Here are 7 characteristics of creative people that you can incorporate in your own life. 1. Creative people are focused. Highly creative people usually have high levels of energy and stay focused on their project for long periods. Even when they're out of the studio or away from their computer, their minds are still thinking about their creative work. 2. They hold on to a sense of wonder. Creative people are often brilliant, but they don't think they know everything. Just the opposite, they retain a sense of wonder and curiosity about the world. 3. Creative people work hard. The stereotype of the writer or artist spending their time propping up a bar doesn't hold up. Artists usually work long hours on a project, and they don't stick to a 9 to 5 schedule. Creatives are persistent and determined and totally focused on their work. 4. Creatives are not loners. Research suggests that creative people often combine the best of extroversion and introversion. While most people tend to favor one or the other of these personality types, creative people combine elements of both. They find ideas and inspiration in their social interactions and then retreat to the studio to work their creative magic. 5. They're open and sensitive. Creatives tend to be very empathetic and sensitive. They're open to all the possibilities of the world and find inspiration everywhere. Sensitivity is necessary to be able to create artistically, but it can be a double-edged sword, leaving the artist vulnerable to criticism and rejection. 6. Creatives are not bound by assigned gender roles. Research has shown that creative people tend to resist traditional gender roles and stereotypes. They're open to the male and female characteristics of their personalities and draw on the strengths of both. 7. Creatives can daydream and be realistic. The traditional picture of the daydreaming artist isn't necessarily reflective of the creative mind. Creativity is grounded in imagination and daydreaming, seeing the possibilities and wondering, what if? But creative people are also very practical, and the next stage is testing the what if idea to see if it works. Creative thinking is essential for innovative problem solving that works in the real world. 6 things you didn't know about highly creative people. You may not realize that there are some differences between ordinary folks and highly creative people. If you're friends with people who are highly creative, then you've probably noticed they see the world in a slightly different way. But scientists have now found that their brains not only work differently, but their neural hardwiring is also unique. Creatives can sometimes be challenging to get along with, but it helps to understand why. 1. They're always thinking. Supercharged creative people always have something on the go. There's always part of their brain that's still in the studio or still writing. Creatives are usually very curious people, always wondering what if or why. The problem-solving part of their brain just doesn't slow down. 2. They push back. One of the key characteristics of highly creative people is not taking the status quo of face value. They like to push back, to poke and ask the difficult questions. You'll often hear the words why or why not on their lips. 3. They follow their own path. To thine own self be true is the creative's motto. Living authentically and in a way that's aligned with their values is an absolute priority for them. They don't just question the status quo, they reject following the herd, and they don't mind having unpopular opinions. 4. Their path isn't linear. A highly creative person's mind often works in loops or spirals. They don't tend to think in a linear, logical fashion, and will often make great creative leaps. Einstein famously said that imagination is more important than knowledge, and this is exactly what he meant. The creative's capacity to see connections can sometimes border on genius. 5. Creatives need downtime and space. Highly creative people will often work for extended periods and then need equal amounts of downtime to recover their energy. This can mean solitude, but not always, as quiet companionships can be just as reviving as being alone. Scheduling doesn't always work so well and can even stifle the creative spirit. Similarly, creativity needs space, quiet, and separation from the day-to-day. 6. Creatives are storytellers. Highly creative people are often highly sensitive to images, metaphors, and stories. Creativity is fundamentally about conveying a story from the artist to the viewer or reader. The narrative is the most ancient way of passing on deep truths, like creation stories, heroic sagas. Creativity is the bedrock of humanity and a key element that separates us from other creatures. Telling stories helps us understand the world, to explain what we experience, and to transcend the everyday. 5 Habits of Highly Creative People. Are you living up to your creative potential? Have you thought about how encouraging your creativity could help boost your skills? People with highly creative minds commonly have more energy, are skilled at problem solving, and have high productivity. Here are 7 habits of highly creative people to kickstart your own creativity and help you reach your creative potential. 1. Aim high and learn new skills every day. If you really want to be a more creative thinker, cultivate your curiosity and learn something new every day. Whether it's a skill or a fact or a new idea, just make sure you're learning every day. Once daily learning has become a habit, you'll find a new confidence and a growing curiosity about the world. 2. Learn to connect. Creatives are highly skilled at joining what may seem like random dots. They see patterns where other folks just see a mess, and what they create as a result is fresh and unique and will stand out from the crowd. Stepping outside your comfort zone or your area of expertise also helps you get a different perspective on things and find innovative solutions to problems. 3. Be open to potential solutions. Creative minds can see potential solutions to even the knottiest problems. When you bring your imagination to the task and are not bound by what already exists, you're free to blue sky all sorts of ideas. This is where techniques like brainstorming and mind mapping can help free up your imagination. It doesn't matter how crazy the thoughts are, put them all down and see what emerges. 4. Protect your creative space. The blue sky stage of creativity can be a vulnerable time. The last thing you need is someone coming along with a pail of cold water and dousing your good ideas with criticism or skepticism. Keep that creative phase quarantined and just map out all your ideas without editing or critiquing or showing them to anyone else. Plenty of time to refine and shape your project later. 5. Keep an open mind. The key to preserving and enhancing your creativity is to stay open to different perspectives. Creativity is flexible and adaptive. If one thing doesn't work, try another. Be open to new ideas and approaches and stay curious about the world and why people do things differently. Some of the most successful creatives are like magpies, collecting new ideas and strategies and seeing how they apply to their own work. 5 reasons to develop your creativity in daily life. You might think that creativity is something you can't do. So many people say, "Oh, I'm just not the creative type." But it is within everyone to be creative. And it's not just good for the soul to sketch or play with clay or embroider. Creativity comes in all shapes and sizes, and it has some unexpected benefits for the rest of your life. 1. Creativity helps you solve problems. Fostering your creativity trains your brain to be more adaptable and flexible in dealing with all sorts of problems. Not just how to get that pot completely balanced and smooth, but how to solve that problem with a work project, or a relationship, or a career issue. Being creative takes you out of the linear thinking mode and the confines of regular logic. Options stop being only black and white. Your mind can look at your problem from many different angles and see potential nuances that you might otherwise miss. 2. Creativity can help you live longer. Surprising but true. Studies have shown that being creative can actually reduce your mortality risk and add years to your life. Making, drawing, woodwork, knitting, or painting all fire different neural pathways in your brain and help reduce stress and anxiety. Creativity slows cognitive aging and enables you to lead a happier, more fulfilling life. 3. Creativity grows your confidence. Learning a creative skill takes application and lots of practice. You'll make a lot of mud pies and lopsided pots before you can create beautiful and functional tableware. Mastering your chosen art form helps you develop confidence in your abilities that will overflow to other areas of your life. As you overcome failure and succeed in making beautiful things, you'll see that persistence and optimism is the way to success. 4. Creativity is immensely satisfying. There's nothing like starting with raw materials and being able to make something unique from them. Whether you start with a lump of clay or you make your summer wardrobe from scratch, you know you have the skills and creative spark to make whatever you want. You aren't dependent on stores and other people's work. You know you can start with zero skills and learn a completely new skill. 5. Creativity helps you express yourself. Making an artwork or a piece of writing or an item of clothing allows you to make something that is completely yours. No one else can make the exact same thing that you can. Living a creative life can help you see that whatever you bring to the world is unique and special. 5 ways in which creative people make outstanding entrepreneurs. You might think that being creative doesn't stack up well with business. After all, the stereotype of the suffering artist or writer wrestling with the muse doesn't sound like a great candidate to be running a company, right? But in fact, creative people make outstanding entrepreneurs. Researchers have found that there are a number of characteristics creatives share, which can make them innovative and successful business people. 1. Creatives are innovative. Creative people tend to take a different, even quirky view of the world. They have flexible, adaptive minds and can often find solutions to tricky problems. And they're really good at coming up with lots of new ideas. 2. Creative processes mirror business processes. It might sound surprising, but the stages of developing a creative project are very similar to those involved in setting up a business. Commonly, there are 4 steps to each enterprise. There's a research phase, gathering information about an issue, product, or problem. There's an incubation stage where this information gets processed, followed by a big breakthrough, eureka moment when the solution becomes clear. Then comes the final testing phase, where the creative entrepreneur tests the solution to see if it works. This applies whether you're setting up a business, launching a new product, or writing a novel. 3. Creatives and entrepreneurs work in the same conditions. Both creatives and entrepreneurs work in a flexible, highly changeable environment. There's the freedom to float and test new ideas in a less structured environment than a regular job or company. There are risks, and sometimes high stakes involved, but for the creative and entrepreneur alike, this is fertile ground that can allow innovative ideas to flourish. 4. They make connections. One of the hallmarks of the creative mind is being able to think outside the box and make connections between superficially unrelated ideas. They're also intensely curious and want to know the whys and why nots about the world. Entrepreneurs are also eclectic thinkers who are not afraid to try new strategies and ideas to see what happens. Both types are big on the what if approach to the world. 5. They're great at communicating their message. Both creatives and entrepreneurs are likely to be passionate about their work and have great powers of persuasion. They've thought about it and worked at it and lived it, so they know it inside out, and they care about sharing their passion with the world.